Alrighty, well guys, it would seem that with the restrictions, man, no matter what antennas you buy for it, it looks like the majority of the new Hubsans are going to come restricted, and even buying the antennas I don't think will help many of you out, depending on the firmware that you have. Once again, I know people say it's not firmware related, but unfortunately it kind of is, and the older versions do not have the restrictions that the new one has, and it's just it's all based on what firmware it was upgraded with, and so it really does suck that Hubsan has felt the need to do this, and I understand that they have to because the government's telling them they have to. It is what it is. But for those of you who have done all the mods and you can't seem to get anything to work, this still so far is my favorite setup. It seems to work the best. The stock antenna is mounted on the outside. And I get a lot more range, and the FPV drops out way less rather than being inside the controller. Also, I ordered a larger sunscreen than you're supposed to put on here. As you can see, I glued it, and it's a little nicer than the ones that they have because it's a lot bigger. And it really does a much better job blocking the sun, so I did put a modified one on here that was not supposed to be on here, and it works great. It doesn't look too bad. It's just, like I said, I had to kind of glue it. None of the clips fit, but I didn't. The one that came with it was just so tiny, so yeah. And actually I can put the link for the purchase that I made for this if you guys want me to, and then it has the modded well, it came with the JST connection on the bottom, but that's a 7.4 volt, 2000 milliamp, 25C LiPo battery for a SEMA quad put in there to make the controller work. And then obviously I bought both of the antennas, and then I did the battery bay mod. Just sliced out the corners of the battery bay so you could just clip these on without having to shove them in there. That is actually really handy to do that. It's so less frustrating. And I run out of FPV range before I run out of 2.4. So if I want to continue flying, I have my G-Tang FPV watch that gets 500 meters of range. Some people will be getting 650 meters out of it. I get about 500 meters. I think it really depends on the output signal of your quad. And but I have had up to 500 meters of basically perfect range with very little drop off. So even though the FPV is kind of restricted to a point, if I do want to fly further with FPV, I can still do it with this. The difference is I don't have telemetry. The screen isn't going to have telemetry once it keeps falling off, but neither will this, so I won't be able to see my telemetry layout. It'll just be your basic view from the camera. It'll have the numbers for recording, and then it'll say that it's got a TF card, but it does allow me to go further than the FPV capabilities of the controller do. So the signal actually allows me to go out 230, 300 meters, and I still have signal with my FPV watch. Even though I lose it on the screen here, I still have it on here. And this was $31. It's the G-Tang FPV watch. I'll go ahead and put that link below. I've talked about it a couple times, but I can't express how good this is, guys. It has 32 channels on the bottom that you can interchange the channels. So this is great for going to FPV races. This is great for follow me mode. This is great for if your quad has FPV restriction bands so that you can't go that far and they don't want you to be able to see. Yeah, so that's a quick way to get around it. So it does have that 500 meter capability that we know of, and I've seen people get around 650 out of it. So there you go, guys. $31. I'll put the link below. I have tried the antennas with the restrictions that they have on the controller and the quad itself, and unfortunately neither of these helped me very much. Yes, I get more long-range flight FPV out of this, but it's really scratchy and it likes to fall off than I do with the stock antenna, but it also sucks because it's not good for flying low altitude around stuff. The patch antenna just does not do a good job for me with the setup that I have, and I'll put all that information below. So I've been through all of it. If it wasn't for my FPV watch, I would be in kind of a crappy scenario with my FPV. but this does not lose reception like that does. So as long as you have something like this as backup, you should be able to see where you're going and get back if you need to. And like I said, 31 bucks. So anyways, guys, drone worship, I'm out. I'm done testing antennas. I may update the firmware at some point when I see enough people have done it and they're comfortable with it. But at this point, guys, I mean, it's about as modified as I think it's going to get for me. I really don't want to do anything else. I don't want to double up the batteries because that's just more stress on the motors. I don't, I'm already getting 20-minute flight time, so I'm not really worried about it. I just wish we could get more range out of it without having to do updates and remove restrictions. But like I said, the government apparently stepped in and is making Hubsan do certain things that they don't want to do either, so we're stuck with it. So anyways, guys, drone worship, and I'm out. Toodaloo.
Give yourself to the dark side.